Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It is time yet again for another Get Ready for the Next Month with Me vlog. The end of May is here, June is upon us. I have a big Texas teaching certificate update to share with you. And then per usual, I'm gonna go over my goals, books that I've read, what's coming up, current favorites, all that fun stuff. So grab, a beverage of choice. I'm gonna make myself a coffee and let's jump into it. It only makes sense to kick off this Texas teaching certificate update in the same spot where I initially recorded the behind the scenes vlog. And if you have not seen that video, I will link it for you down below. I also have done some periodic updates throughout the process in these Get Ready for the Next Month with Me vlogs, and I have all of those on a playlist. I also love Billy's bucket hat just chilling behind me. That is his yard work hat. Anyway, I am very happy to report that I am officially certified to teach in Texas, at least through Halloween of 2029, so for the next 5 years. In my last update, I was waiting on my exam results. I had to take one exam, it was the Science of Teaching Reading, and I took that like mid or late April, and I had to wait until May 10th to get my exam results because they release them in batches. I was actually at the airport. I think we had already flown from Austin to JFK. We were sitting in JFK waiting to board our flight to Berlin because we went to Germany. I'll recap you on that later. And I got an email with the exam results and I passed, which was a big relief because I did not prep or study for the exam. You can go back and watch the last update vlog to hear about that, but I essentially signed up for the exam like the day after I found out I had to take it. So I was very relieved to find out that I passed. While I was sitting there at the airport waiting to board my flight, I went ahead and applied for the certificate and scheduled my fingerprinting, which I had to get done. So obviously that was after the trip. We got home on, I wanna say May 20th. I went the next day on the 21st to get the fingerprinting done. That was a Tuesday, and by Thursday, the 23rd, I had an email saying that I was certified and I had a copy of the certificate, which I'll pop up right here. Not that it's anything fancy. It's kind of a little bit of a letdown because you just get a digital certificate. You don't get like a paper copy. It's fine, I can print it out. But I did add up all of the fees associated with getting certified, and I wanted to share that with you. Go ahead, leave a comment down below. What is your guess for the total amount I spent to get certified? Okay, pause the video, leave your guess.
You're going to charge me a fee to cut my own cake?
All right, here's the breakdown. I had to pay $164 for the initial review of my documents, so my transcripts and all of that. Now this is coming from someone who is applying as an educator who was already certified in another state. So the expenses would probably be different if you were applying to get certified to teach in Texas, like right out of college or other situations. I then had to pay $5 to get my transcript from my undergrad and $15 for my transcript from grad school. I had to pay $139.32 in order to take the Science of Teaching Reading exam. I had to pay $78 to apply for the standard certificate. And then I had two different fees for the fingerprinting. I had to pay $40.25 initially. I don't know if that's to like review my fingerprints or what, but when I then went to get fingerprinted, I had to pay another $10.21. So the grand total was $451.78, which I feel like is very ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna bite my tongue for now. but I am officially certified to teach in Texas. Stay tuned to see what I do with that, because I've had, I don't want to say a change of heart lately, but I've had some ideas. So stick with me, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those future updates. Speaking of teaching, hopefully you know by now, but last year I released my book, First Class Teaching, 10 Lessons You Don't Learn in College. So if you are a new teacher or you know a new teacher, it makes a great graduation present. You can grab a copy of my book on Amazon or at Barnes & Noble. I will link it for you in the description box. But last summer, I actually did a PD for new teachers all about my book, and one of the final activities I had them do was pick out a postcard. I just got these in a set on Amazon. I really liked all of the different kind of motivational phrases, and they're nice and colorful. And I had them fill out the postcard essentially with a letter to themselves. So because they were doing this before their first year started, I figured I would mail it to them at the end of their first year just as a nice little reflection. And I'm gonna put those in the mailbox today. Since it's the end of May, I feel like it's perfect timing. But if you're interested in the postcards, because I think this would be a fun activity to do with students as well, like first day of school, have them pick out a postcard and write a little letter to themselves for the last day of school, and then you give it to them. How adorable. I will link these. And then with my book, last summer I did a book club where we met weekly to discuss one chapter or two chapters at a time, just kind of shared ideas, all that fun stuff. If you're wanting me to do that again this summer, it's free to join. All you need is a copy of the book. Let me know. Summer kind of snuck up on me, but if I have enough interest, I would love to do that book club again. So leave a comment if you're interested. Meanwhile, if you want to grab your copy, check out the description or just search First Class Teaching on Amazon. All right, now let's do a little goal update, and we're gonna see if Ember wants to join us. She's currently laying up in her kennel, but I feel like y'all want Ember content. Ember, come here. We'll see. She might jump up in the chair with me if we're lucky. But Ember, come on. I could hear her stop at the top of the stairs. She's like, was I called? I don't know. Hello, do you wanna come up? Okay. So getting certified to teach in Texas was actually my March goal, which obviously did not get accomplished until May, but that's just the way the schematics work sometimes. My May goal was to learn how to drive a stick shift. That was one of my 40 before 40 list items, my list of 40 things I want to do in the next decade before I turn 40. And success, I can drive a manual car. Can I do it well? No. Could I do it if I had to in a pinch? Yes. The hardest part, honestly, was trying to find a way to get a manual car for me to learn. You cannot rent a manual car from any of the main rental companies, at least around here from what we could find. And when I say we, I mean my parents and I, because they were the ones teaching me. So we ended up renting a car through Turo, T-U-R-O. It's more of like a private rental service where you're renting it from a person, almost like Airbnb, but for rental cars. And my parents picked up the car, we went to a parking lot, and they taught me. They kind of went back and forth, taking turns, because obviously people explain things in different ways, and we know from teaching, you'll say things one way and it won't click, and as soon as you word it a different way, suddenly it clicks with your students. So all in all, I don't know, we were there for maybe an hour and a half, and again, I got the basics. Would I be able to drive a stick shift in heavy traffic? Probably not, but they did have me practice on a hill, just trying to go back and forth between the clutch and the gas to keep the car steady. And yeah, goal checked off, 40 before 40 list item checked off. My June goal, let's chat about that, because I'm actually really excited. For the month of June, I am going to do a no spend month, which there are a lot of versions of this online. Here is what that means for me. Obviously, I have to spend money on certain non-negotiables, AKA bills. So I will make my mortgage payment. I will pay my electricity and my gas and my insurance and my phone and internet and all of those things that come with being an adult. Love that for me. But I am not going to make any extraneous, is that the right word? Extravagant expenses. I am not going to make any impulse buys. The only thing outside of my bills, which are actually all set up on auto payments, that I will spend money on is obviously food, because I do have to live and survive. But I am setting a budget of $400 for the whole month, and that's for Billy and I both. That includes grocery shopping as well as eating out. Typically, we don't eat out very often. We will do one meal out per week, usually Saturday night or Saturday morning, but that's going to be factored into that $400. So for example, if we were to spend $60 on groceries for the week, then that kind of alleviates $40 to be able to eat out. But it's gonna be over the course of a month, so it doesn't have to be $100 per week. I'm just gonna keep track of it as we go. But I'm excited because I have been doing a lot of impulse buys, mostly Amazon, and I need to stop. So I love having kind of a boot camp approach to this. I feel like it just makes it more fun. And I've actually been looking forward to it. So I'm gonna be using, there's a page in our digital planner all about no spend months, and that's what I'm gonna be using to track it. So I kind of put in there like my things I'm allowed to buy versus what I'm not allowed to buy. And obviously at the end of the month, my next vlog, I will keep you updated on how it's going. But if you wanna join me, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, your hacks. I'm gonna have to like unsubscribe from all the emails. That's what gets me. It's an email with a sale and I'm like, Michelle, you gotta take action on the sale, but in reality, I don't need to. So we're gonna work on that. Now let's move on to some current favorites, because the first one is related to spending money, but being able to get money back, and that is the Fetch app. This is not sponsored, by the way. Shout out to my friend Valerie, I know you're watching this, who introduced me to this app. It is a free app where you scan receipts and you earn points and you redeem those points for gift cards to a variety of places. And I think there's probably other things you can redeem it for as well. But this is what the app looks like. Please ignore all of my notifications and stuff. It's a little white app with a orange dog. And once you open it up, it will show you different like incentives that are currently going on for items where you can get bonus points, but it is as simple as just scanning a receipt from anywhere. It can be a receipt from a restaurant, from a convenience store, gas station, Amazon purchases. You can link up your Amazon account, your Walmart account, and it will retrieve your digital receipts as well. But basically, you just tap the little camera button at the bottom, and then you have the option between the e-receipt or the camera. Tap the camera, you take a picture, well, that's me, but you take a picture of the receipt, and then all you do is like slide the thing up. It will save that to your account. You get 25 points for each receipt that you scan, but then you can get bonus points if there's different deals going on with some of the items. You can also play games to get bonus points. It's very easy. What I love is that I will leave a store in the moment, scan my receipt, and it's done. And then, as I said, you can redeem those points for gift cards. And it's just like, well, why not? Like, it's free money, you know what I mean? And I introduced my parents to it and they got hooked. My dad went through a whole drawer of all receipts that my mom had stacked up and just like scanned them all. So even older receipts, there might be a cap on how old, but it will still let you scan them. So if you are wanting to sign up, you can get 1,000 free bonus points. Again, this is not sponsored or anything. I just have a code where it'll give you 1,000 points. And that's what Valerie did for me when I signed up. So my code is TJFFDR, but I also will have a link in the description box that you can click on. And then when you sign up and scan your first receipt, you get 1,000 bonus points. Next favorite, totally unrelated, cauliflower rice from Costco. Listen, I was not the biggest cauliflower rice fan because I felt like it was always mushy and I didn't love the texture. Then I tried cauliflower rice from HEB where you would just throw it in the microwave, steam it, and I loved it. But then I got turned on to Costco cauliflower rice because it's cheaper and the texture is even better. It comes in a 4-pack, so you get 4 1-pound bags. You can just throw it in the microwave. I usually do it for like 6 or 6.5 minutes. It steams right in the bag, but you can also add it in frozen to different dishes. And here's the brand, what it looks like. I recently made it's like a chicken and rice skillet, kind of like Mexican flavor vibes, and it was absolutely delicious. And the cauliflower rice actually keeps its texture. It's cheaper at Costco in comparison to at least, my local grocery store, and it's delicious. And then my next two favorites are travel related. So if you're going on any trips this summer, I got you covered. As I mentioned, we recently went to Germany, so I invested in some new things and I absolutely love them. First is this portable charger. I feel like almost everyone has one of these as a way to charge your electronics. And I've had a lot of them over the years, but this is my favorite. So the brand is Veger, F-E-G-E-R. I will link it for you. I just got it on Amazon. But what I love about this one specifically, it has a built-in plug so that you can plug it right into the wall to be able to charge it. And then it also has a digital display, so it will tell you a number in terms of 1 to 100 of where the battery life is. And then it also has the little built-in charging cable, so you don't have to bring additional cables to plug into it. It has whatever this one, I never know what these ones are called, but it has that cable and then USB-C, and then it also has a lightning cable on the other side, which I really like because Billy's phone still uses a lightning cable, whereas mine uses USB-C. And then it also has additional outlets. So there is a USB and USB-C, so you can plug in additional cables to it. You can charge up to 4 different devices at one time. And it's super thin and lightweight. This weighs like 8 ounces. And I love that it perfectly fits in my belt bag, which I've shared about this before. Again, I've had a lot of belt bags, and recently I had one that I loved, but I left it in Jordan and I had to get a new one. And this one is fantastic because it has lots of pockets. So if you're like me and you like all the pockets, this one is fantastic. Again, it came from Amazon. It has a front pocket, 2 middle pockets that zip separately, and then there's little like elasticy kind of pockets on the inside, and then there is also a back pocket. So typically when I travel, like one will hold my phone, one will hold my charger, one will hold my passport, and then this will have like my AirPods and chapstick and stuff. And then a hanging toiletry bag. I could not believe it took me this long to invest in one of these. I used to just have one of your plain Jane toiletry bags, and I used to always see people with these and I was like, I don't know if it's for me. But now that I got one and used it, I absolutely love it. There are 4 different pockets and they have a plasticky material, so they're waterproof, and they all fold up together. When we were in Germany, which this was like a 12-day trip, so kind of a longer trip, Billy and I were able to fit all of our toiletries in here, including all of my makeup. So this whole bag had all of our toiletries for the entire trip. And I loved that it zips up, it's all in one place. It even has a little front pocket. But then once we got to the hotel, because especially internationally, a lot of the hotel bathrooms tend to be on the smaller side, we could just hang it up, get what we needed, put it back in the bag. It just was so convenient. And of course, my favorite color, black. So I will link all of those items for you. Also, little travel hack. I keep all of our travel materials in this Sterilite tote. So it has all of like our packing cubes and different accessories and things that we use when we travel. These are formula containers that I typically put protein powder in, but it keeps everything in one place. And then when we go to travel, I just get out the box and pack what we need. It would not be a get ready for the new month with me vlog without a book update. If you didn't know, I am on a mission to read 52 books this year. That is also one of my 40 before 40 list items. And I'm currently at that's wishful thinking. I'm currently at 25 books read, so I'm almost at the halfway point. And considering we're only 5 months through the year, I'm ahead of schedule. I'll take it. April ended up being a big month for me. I read another book even after the last vlog, so I finished April at 7 books read. So far in May, I've only read 3, but because April was such a big month and then I still have a few days left of May, I'll hopefully get a 4th book read. I'm satisfied with where I am. So the first book that I read technically in April was Sleep Smarter, and I had mentioned this book Overall, I did like it, but I didn't get as much out of it as maybe I was hoping to. However, if you struggle with sleep, I do think it's worth the read. You're not gonna implement every single strategy, but it's a great source of some new ideas. By the way, I have all of these on an Amazon list. I have one list for more personal books and then one list for like teaching books. So those are both linked in the description box if you are interested. Also, after this, we're gonna do a little sleep update and I'm gonna share some of the like top takeaways and things that I've implemented to help with my sleep. The next book that I read, which I took this with me on the Germany trip because it was super lightweight and thin, and I actually finished it at the airport before we even left for Germany, but it was The Go-Giver. And again, this had been recommended to me by my friend Anna, and I did love it. Now, it's not like I learned a lot. I'm a note taker when I read books. I didn't have notes from this book. It more so just reframed my mindset around business and life in general. I think even outside of business, just about being more giving. And it's a different kind of book, the way that it's told. It's almost from like a story perspective, but I did really enjoy that. Then I read Eat, Move, Sleep, and I didn't love it. Honestly, there was a lot of contradictory information in here and misguided information. One of my pet peeves is when people reference scientific studies, but they haven't even read the study. All they've seen is other people reference the study, and a lot of times they are cherry picking information without seeing the bigger picture, and that was a lot of this book. So I don't know, don't necessarily recommend. It was okay. But the last book that I just read was The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. Loved it. This was my favorite book of the month. I really connected with the author. There were so many things that she said, and I'm like, that's me, that's me, that's me. And I felt very seen and validated. So if you have ever watched my videos and connected to me, you would probably love this because I think you would connect to the author as well. But essentially, she spent a year trying to find ways to cultivate happiness. Not that she was unhappy, she just felt like she could be happier or should be happier, barring her life circumstances. And each month, she kind of focused on a different topic or area and set little goals or resolutions to be able to strive for. And it's very anecdotal. It's not, I mean, she does tie in research, but it's more so, hey, here are the things that work for me. Use them as inspiration for yourself, but everyone's happiness project is going to look different. And I loved that message. I got a lot of inspiration from it. It made me happy to read it. I just thoroughly recommend this book. So if you have not already read this, go ahead and grab yourself a copy. I got mine at Half Price Books. But for the month of June, I'm hoping to read 4 books. First, I definitely want to read Ready or Not. This was gifted to me by a friend, Bridget, not Bridget in Pennsylvania, but a Bridget that I recently connected with here in Texas. And she gifted this to me. I actually presented a PD session at her school, and she surprised me with this, which was so sweet because she's their librarian. And I originally wanted to take this with me to Germany, but it was such a bulky book that I chose to take the Go-Giver instead. That way I wouldn't have as much like taking up space in my suitcase. So I'm gonna read this. It'll be my fiction book for the month. And then I did pick like a thinner book just to even things out because that one's a little hefty. The Dip, which is by Seth Godin, don't know how to pronounce that. I'll figure it out. And then on the theme of happiness, The Happiness Advantage. You can tell these were also half-price book finds. And then Great at Work, and that is by Morton T. Hansen. So that is my plan for the month of June, but stay tuned. I'll let you know my thoughts. Meanwhile, I'm also gonna be rereading a book, which I'm not really counting. As I mentioned, I have all of my books stacked up back here in a pile, but I have to keep them in the order that I've been reading them. Okay, so Bridget and I, every summer we do a book review on our podcast, Teaching to the Top. And this summer we are gonna do Tiny Habits. I already read this, but I'm going to reread it prior to recording the podcast. So As I recommended this book in a prior vlog, I loved it. If you want to grab a copy and then be able to listen to the podcast episode, this is on that personal book list on Amazon that I mentioned. I also mentioned I would share some of my best sleep tips, things that I've been implementing to really improve my sleep lately. Also, it is about to storm, so it got dark in here. It's kind of the perfect vibe for going and taking a nap. But these are things that I have known about, so when I share them, I'm sure you have heard of them too. And I have to say, I just wasn't, I guess, consistently implementing them. And I think we all kind of fall off of our good habits from time to time. And if anything, reading that Sleep Smarter book and just making a conscious effort to prioritize my sleep helped remind me of the things that I need to be doing because they actually work. So keep in mind that this is just what works for me. It's not gonna work for everyone, but I did get a lot of comments asking for tips and ideas to help with sleep because I think that is something a lot of people struggle with. All right, so one of the first things is just shifting my mindset. I used to look at sleep as I'll do it when I have time for it, and I would prioritize work and other obligations over getting quality sleep, whereas now, that tickles, I really prioritize it as an asset and I protect it as an asset because I know that I function better as a human being. I'm a better wife, I'm a better athlete, I'm a better entrepreneur when I have enough sleep. And I think just looking at sleep as a necessity and looking at it as something that I really treasure, I now start to look forward to like laying down at night and just relaxing.
That is very spiritual and relaxing.
And not having to focus on all of the things, that has helped me fall asleep faster. I used to always struggle to fall asleep because my brain would be running a million miles a minute, and that does still happen, but it happens less frequently because I now look at sleep as a time to just, I mean, relax is such a silly word to keep using, but it's a time to like decompress, and it's time that I deserve to take my mind off of things, if that makes sense. But some more practical things, because I know you're like, all right, Michelle, things that I've done that have really helped. Getting exposure to more sunlight. And that's one of the first things I read in the Sleep Smarter book where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a simple change that I can easily make. So when I wake up first thing in the morning, I open up all of the blinds and I let as much natural sunlight come into the house as possible. And then throughout the day, when I take little breaks, I try to go outside or at least be near a window so that I get exposure to sunlight. And I guess it helps reset your circadian rhythm and release melatonin and all of that kind of stuff. You can read the book to learn more of the science behind it, but I do think that that has really helped. Another thing is making it colder. And again, this is something I've always kind of known, but a really easy change that I made was just setting the thermostat to automatically drop down like 2 to 3 degrees about an hour before I plan to go to bed. And even though I get very cold, once I'm under the covers, I do think I fall asleep much faster. Now I wear fuzzy socks because my feet get very, very cold, but we put our thermostat at like 66 degrees at night. And then we have it automatically raised just before we get up in the morning, and that has helped a lot. Also, having consistent wake up and sleep times. I've heard this for years and I was just kind of like, I don't need to do that. But I will say, as much as possible, if I can keep those sleep and wake up times consistent, it helps. And it's interesting because even traveling to Germany, obviously having that time change, I actually experienced no real jet lag or even real fatigue. I didn't sleep at all on the plane. I just can't sleep on planes. But once we got there, I just tried to get to bed at kind of the normal time that I would, get up, 8 hours later, and it really, really helped. And Billy and I have stopped sleeping in so much on the weekends. We try to still get up at a consistent time. And then finally, including decompression time in my evening routine. I used to always want to jump from doing work on my computer to, okay, I'm gonna get in bed and fall asleep. And of course, my mind is still gonna be racing. So now, once I get home from the gym, if I do need to do any work, I try to get it done as soon as I get home from the gym. That way, once I shower and eat dinner, I am unplugged. I try to stay off of my phone and instead I read a book. I'll make a cup of hot tea. Y'all know I love that apple cinnamon spice tea or whatever it's called. And I will foam roll, and I try to just give my body time to relax, if that makes sense. And my sleep has been much better. So even though those tips are not revolutionary, maybe they will just be gentle reminders for you to do the things that you know you should be doing and you know help more consistently if you do want to see results. And then it would not be a get ready for the next month with me vlog without some digital planning. I'm gonna share my May reflection page and my June planning page. These are both from the digital personal planner that Bridget and I sell over on Teaching on the Double. It is available both as tablet and Google Slides versions. I am using the tablet version with my iPad, Apple Pencil, and the annotation app GoodNotes, which allows me to write right on the PDF. All of those will be linked for you down in the description box if you are interested, but I'm gonna scooch to the side. And can we first appreciate that for the month of May, I have no unfinished to-dos? I'm gonna give myself a round of applause because that never happens. For the summary, it's mostly gonna be a Germany recap, but I did have my powerlifting meet at the end of April. I got first place in my weight class. I ended up dropping a weight class. So I competed as a 52 kilogram lifter. I weighed in at like 112. And I also won overall for females. I had the highest like dot score, which is basically a comparison of the weight that you lifted to your personal weight. And overall, it was a really good meet. So next stop is Nationals, which is in Salt Lake City in September. And I got back into training post-meet like right away. Usually I take a week off, but because I knew we were going to Germany and I was gonna take all of those days off from training, I wanted to jump right back into it, and it actually felt really good to do that. I also met, as I mentioned, a new friend, Bridget, at the PD session that I did, and she was so sweet, and I know her and I are gonna connect and go on more like coffee dates and stuff since she lives pretty close to me. And then we flew to Berlin, as I mentioned, on May 10th. I think we got there on the 11th. One of the first things we did after landing was get a doner kebab, which, that was one of my favorite food items I had the whole trip. Absolutely phenomenal. We then saw the Brandenburg Gate and the Jewish Memorial and just spent some time kind of exploring that area. The next day, oh my goodness, it is so windy outside. We took a train to Potsdam and kind of spent the day exploring Potsdam. On the way, we stopped at platform 17. And once we got to Potsdam, we did Sanssouci Palace, we did the Sicilienhof Castle, and then Billy and I ended up walking to a Burgermeister for dinner that night because we were kind of late getting back, and it was one of the few things open, and I love me a good burger, so that was awesome. Then we did a food tour in Berlin, which was definitely one of the highlights of the trip. I love doing food tours. It's such a cool way to learn about the culture, experience different food items, get little tips and tricks from someone that lives there that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So highly recommend food tours if you've never done one. This one was fantastic, and afterwards we just spent the rest of the time exploring East Berlin, the East Side Gallery, which is what is left of the Berlin Wall that has been transformed into all of these murals. And then we also stopped at Checkpoint Charlie on the way back. And then the next day we toured the Reichstag building, which is essentially the Parliament building, like their version of the White House. There's gonna be someone who tears me apart in the comments and is like, Michelle, you are doing a terrible job of explaining this, but I am doing the best that I can. We also had some food at Hofbrauhaus, which is a very touristy place, but it's you gotta go when you go to Berlin, which they all enjoyed some alcoholic beverages. I don't drink, so I enjoyed me a big pretzel. And then after that, the next day we visited the Dachau concentration camp, which about a year ago, Billy and I did Auschwitz, and it was not an extermination camp, so it was a different experience, but we thoroughly enjoyed just learning the history of that. We then took a day trip down to Füssen, and we toured the, I'm gonna butcher this, I'm so sorry, Neuschwanstein Castle, which is essentially the castle that Cinderella's castle was based off of, and that was just absolutely gorgeous. And Then Billy and I had a day where we did all the little things that were still on our list. That's actually down as my best memory. We just explored around Munich, where we went to Wienerplatz. We went back to the Marienplatz. We were saying Marienplatz, but I'm pretty sure it's Marienplatz is how it's pronounced. We also did the, I'm gonna butcher it again, Victrillion Market. And we also visited the English Gardens, and we were able to see this area where there's like a kind of a fake wave that people will surf on all of the time. There's actually 2 different spots for that. We did like a bakery crawl where we just went to a bunch of different bakeries and got snacks and baked goods, and it was such a great day. But once we got back from Germany, I was very proud of myself for just jumping right back into my usual routine, because that's always hard after traveling. And then I was able to try a few new recipes in the month of May, not as many as I would have liked, but we were traveling for like half the month. So I made a Goodles dish, which I've shared about Goodles before. You can find them at like Target and some local grocery stores. But I love making a pot of Goodles and then just mixing in different things to kind of elevate the dish. So I made one with like broccoli and mushrooms and chicken, and it was very good. I mentioned that chicken and rice skillet. I also did a spinach artichoke chicken skillet. That was very good. Some of the highlights: connecting with new friends, as I mentioned, Bridget, and I've connected with some other people virtually as well. Passing the Science of Teaching reading exam and getting certified, learning how to drive a stick shift. My gratitude was my parents taking care of Ember while we were gone, and then Billy's cousin Will taking care of Luna and Zora, having the opportunity to travel to new places, and then, oh, power's back on. That's good. Billy's patience, love, and support, because May was kind of a rough month for me for a variety of reasons, but I definitely was just struggling more emotionally with some things, and he was very, very good at giving me what I needed. So again, some of my challenges: letting go of control, taking things too personally, and then I didn't cope very well with some interruptions to my routine, so I need to be better at that. So I want to improve letting things go and forgiving, maintaining a more positive outlook, and then trying to ditch that all or nothing mentality. But some of the things that I want to start doing after reading The Happiness Project: just cultivating happiness in small ways, making sure I am foam rolling before bed, and then creating some more focused work blocks to schedule my workday. I feel like I've kind of gotten away from that, and I want to get back to it. I want to keep getting more exposure to daylight, doing my Spanish lessons on Rosetta Stone, and then finding new ways to challenge myself, just getting outside of my comfort zone, setting new goals, etc. Stop the unnecessary spending, stop expecting praise or appreciation from other people, and getting stressed out over a change of routine. So now shifting to the month of June, my goals are to complete the no spend month, read 4 books, and complete my evening routine in the ideal way, like 4 out of 7 nights per week. It doesn't need to be perfect, but just trying to do it about every other day. My priorities: prepping for ISTE, because I'm gonna be part of the Fig Jam team. If you wanna join ISTE, you can still get tickets. It's a big ed tech conference. It's in Denver at the end of June. I will link that for you down below. I will be there at the Fig Jam booth, so come say hi to me. Proactively batching videos and projects, and then enjoying the start of the summer. I don't want to get too bogged down with work. I want to make sure Billy and I are taking time to do some things that we enjoy. And then under like my to-dos, it's a lot of reading the books that I have planned, getting my June digital mystery puzzles and digital escape room done, planning June YouTube videos, podcast episodes, getting those teaching theater sessions I'm gonna be doing with Fig Jam ready, and quarterly taxes, that's always fun. Father's Day. Bridget's birthday celebration is just me figuring out what I'm gonna do for her birthday. And then finish booking Billy's birthday trip, which again, there will be more information coming on that. I kind of have to keep it a surprise for now, but that is gonna wrap it up for this Get Ready for the Month of June with Me vlog. I really enjoy doing these videos, and it seems like you all enjoy them as well. So if that is the case, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a way to support my channel and get notified when I post new videos. Leave some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts, and I can't wait to catch up with you to get ready for the month of July. So until next time, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.